Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
New undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael the Count Bisping.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
Here we go. Believe You Me, episode 104. We're back.
What's up, Lewis? How you doing, my friend? We are back. You say we're back. I mean, we operated on Friday, so it's only been the weekend. Of course, we had big weekend fights. Whoa, turn those lights back on. Just stop whatever you're doing. Just my family are interfering. They know I'm live. They know I've just started going live, and then they start peering through the windows, turning lights on and off. Probably looking for a Nintendo DS game or some shit. But they know, Lewis, that when I say it's podcast time, I do not want disturbing, okay?
Yeah,
Very sacred.
They should be so lucky. Their dad gets to work from home, gets to fucking hang out. He dips out for an hour and a half, comes back in. And most dads have to go work 9-10 hours days. They get to experience their father at all times at home.
So here's the thing, you touched on something there, actually, because it does bother me because I feel like I don't get the respect in this house that I deserve, because generally, unless I'm on the road, unless I'm off doing something with the UFC, I do work from home. There's a lot of prep every time. Like at the weekend, there was a UFC fight. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. I've got to watch fights. I've got to create. I've got to write pop-ups. I've got to give them certain highlights that we want to see on the show. I do all of this from the luxury of my home, sat in my underpants, right, on the couch, drinking coffee. And they go off to school, and Callum comes back, and you can see, because he's 17, and he gives these little shitty, sarcastic remarks like, oh, still on the couch, eh, Dad? I'm like, no, listen, you little fucker. Okay, I'm working. I'm just lucky that I get to do it whilst in my underpants, still keeping one eye on the TV, sending my emails, scratching my balls. Do not come in here and be fucking judgmental, you little shit. In fact, get upstairs and clean your goddamn room.
It's funny you say, because it is a really interesting point, because the other point of it, even if you weren't working, right? Let's just say you weren't doing a podcast and you have a day where you're sitting on your ass and you're enjoying,
it's none of his business.
The life that you built for yourself. Think about this, right? Because people say this all the time, like, oh, you tell jokes for a living. You work a couple hours on a podcast here or there. You tell some jokes for 15 minutes at night. Think about the amount of sacrifice that went into it before you had the opportunity to make money. The hours, the intensity of work that went into it before you were making any money. Even when you were making money, the intensity of the amount of work, the amount of physical and mental effort that goes into it, it's probably 10 lifetimes worth of work for the average person who maybe goes into work and then disconnects and goes home and does what they do. You have an obsession becoming a UFC champion or doing anything that can be considered, extraordinary like that. It takes a lot to even get there. So yeah, even on the days where you're sitting around, it's like, fuck that, dude. You earn the right to sit around because of what it took to get there. Yeah,
well, it's like anything, if you want to, anything that's worth doing or that other people want to do that's an envious position, then obviously there's a lot of competition, and you don't just start at the top. Very, very rarely, unless like you go on America's Got Talent or something like that, and all of a sudden you're selling number one singles because you're a manufactured pop star. But generally, you got to work your way up to be an expert at anything. The phrase is 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours you have to do to be an expert and really start making good money. And that goes across all four fronts. But that was a little quick side note. It's a week before Christmas, Lewis. I'll tell you this. I don't feel Christmassy. Maybe it's because I was just in Milwaukee. Maybe it's because I'm working nonstop, contrary to what my children try and suggest or imply. But
it's
I'm
a
not
real deadbeat.
Even though
Michael Bisping, the deadbeat.
Yeah, I just sit at home all day. That's all I ever do. Yeah, I know you poked fun at me for having somebody put Christmas tree lights up outside our house, but that's about as Christmas as it gets. If I walk through here now, it's very Christmassy. It looks like the perfect Christmas home. We've got a huge tree. It's done very, very nicely. But I got to say, I'm not in that Christmas mood yet.
Yeah, it's a little different. Also, I don't even understand how you can celebrate Christmas in the warm weather. It would be bizarre to me to live in California and have the sun shining and people in their pool in their backyard and doing all that shit when it's supposed to be winter. About what?
We don't go in our pools in the winter. You're right. It is still predominantly sunny. In fact, it was on the news. My wife said yesterday, she goes, "Oh God, Thursday it's going to be back up to 85 degrees." You know, there's the dogs going crazy again. Put the dogs outside. Jesus Christ, please, babe, put them outside. Wow, I say it every time. Put them outside. She won't listen. They bark.
We should do the Believe You Me drinking game where every time the dogs bark, you have to
put them in the garden, please.
Anytime Michael Bisping breaks from the show to yell at a family member for any reason, you have to drink.
She's not putting them in the garden. She says yes, but she says I am, but she's not. I mean, she did it the first time and they barked.
Anytime Michael Bisping adores one of my jokes, drink.
Yeah. What we were talking about before I got rudely. 85 degrees. It is going to be 85 degrees again. And it is weird. I must admit, when I moved from England out to California, and then we were dealing with warm, sunny days, when you go outside on Christmas morning and the sun's shining, you could actually lie in the garden and get a tan. It did take some getting used to, but after a while, you do get over it. Yeah. You know, you do get over it, Lewis.
I just need some snow. I need some coldness. In New York City, it is beautiful right up until Christmas. Then December 26th hits, and then a dark, gray, bluish coldness comes over New York City. And then there's 3 months of Game of Thrones winter. It's awful. There's nothing worse. But up until Christmas, it's very beautiful. And I did give you shit about hiring men to go and make your house look nice, which is weird to me because if I had a home, I would get up my fucking roof like Clark Griswold and I would staple the lights into the roof and I would make it look the pride of building.
The only problem, Lewis, is if you did that, you'd probably be arrested for breaking and enter. They'd say, we have a burglar on the roof trying to break in, masquerading as a light fitter. But yeah, so I feel like I know where you're going with this, Lewis. So let me tell you, you succumbed to the pressure because of your also very, very busy schedule. I don't know how you keep it, Lewis. But did you have some Puerto Ricans come around your house and put lights up?
No, I didn't. I fucked up though. Here's what I did. Okay. I was supposed to get a tree like a week ago, and I always put everything off to the last minute. Supposed to get a tree. We ordered all the ornaments on. I've never had my own tree since me and my son's mother broke up, and now I moved out, and there was a couple years where I had a roommate, and I was bouncing around from these little shitty studio apartments, and now me and my girlfriend live together. We have a really nice apartment, nice home. And it's the first year that I've actually sort of made the steps to make Christmas nice. So there's Christmas decorations up. There's like a fucking wreath on the front door. I don't do shit like that, but it's a different time now. So I was like, all right, we got to do this.
So this is a softer Luis J. Gomez that we're seeing here, finally cracking. He's got the wreath on the wall. You've invested in a tree. I mean, wow. You do realize that these are the bare essentials when it comes to getting Christmas here. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't give you credit for getting all Christmas here for putting a tree up. You do have, how old is James? 6, 5?
He's turning 6 at the end of the month.
You have a 6-year-old son, okay? I'm sorry, you don't get credit. You don't get Father of the Year for putting a tree up, Lewis.
If you didn't have
and you
Rebecca,
went one step further and you put a wreath on the door. Whoa, wow. This fucking guy went crazy. You put a tree up. I'm proud.
I would love to see what would happen if Rebecca, no. When Rebecca leaves you. I want to see the Michael Bisping fucking apartment, the fucking, how nice it looks. It's going to be a fucking box of Cheerios, one fucking spoon, and a chair in the center of a lonely, lonely room. And then I'm going to laugh at you. I'm not even going to be there for you as your friend. I'm going to be like, say, you talked all that fucking shit. Now, how does it feel?
Well, first of all, why would you wish that evil on anybody? Why are you encouraging or hypothesizing or alluding to my wife leaving me, which I don't like.
I don't allude, motherfucker.
Second, you're not Brendan Sharp. Secondly, I'm actually very domesticated. Okay, believe it or not, and I'm the guy. I told you, Rebecca's not wifeish. I mean, she is kind of wifeish. She does get on her knees and clean up dog jizz, as we know. But and I just ate a delicious homemade cookie prior to coming on the show. Kind of wifeish.
Hopefully there was some dog jizz in it. That's your payback.
Yeah, there may have been. But I actually am the one that goes the extra length, that says we need this, that says we need that. We need to get it a bit more festive. I like to make an effort. I like to lay a nice table. I like a tidy house, Lewis. I do like a tidy house. Now, I like a tidy house. Not saying I necessarily do the cleaning, but I do like a tidy house.
Oh, yeah, me too.
If I lived in a place by myself, though, Lewis, it would not be the shithole that you assume, my friend.
I'm just saying you've been with Rebecca for 20 years now, going on 20 years.
19,
like
yeah. 19.
When is the last time? There's never been a time where you've truly had to, I mean, you were a kid. You were a fucking kid. Hold on. Your mom was cleaning up after you before that, and now you have a wife. So I would love to see if you were alone and how it would fucking. I'm telling you right now, you don't seem the type of guy that you would prioritize having a nice rug or art on the wall.
Listen, I lived on my own at 16 years old. I lived in this shitty little bedsit, which is what do you guys call it? Like a studio apartment in one room. Yeah. Sink, kitchen, everything all in there. Tiny little thing. When I was 16 years old, and I had that okay. It was all right. Even at 16, I had my PlayStation in there. I had a little couch. I kept it nice and clean and tidy. Wasn't too keen on sharing the bathroom with the other heroin addicts in the building, mind you. That was a bit like going back to some kind of war-torn country. The toilet was like nothing I'd ever seen in my life. But I did live on my own at 16. And my mother, if I'm saying Rebecca's not wifeish, then my mother, God bless her, I love her to bits, but not the most motherly person either. She was definitely not coming in my room and tidying up after me. Okay, that's a fact. That is a goddamn fact. None
of the women in your life treated you well. Everyone's just abusive to you.
That's all I ever wanted.
You just want a woman.
I just want someone to hug and kiss and tell me that they love me. My mom used to take the heel of the shoe and fucking crack my skull with it. Take the rolling pin and crack me with the rolling pin. I remember I used to hide the rolling pin because a big wooden rolling pin, they fucking hurt when you've got a crazed mom hitting you with that thing. So I hid the rolling pin, and then one day she went to the kitchen to get the rolling pin, and she's going through the drawers all frantically, and I could see that she couldn't find it, and I had little smugness to myself. And then Shireen, my younger sister, fucking runs in. She knew where I'd hid it. She goes, "Here you go, Mom. Hands her the fucking rolling pin." I'm like, "You bitch, Shireen, you bitch." But
see, my mom, she would use. It was the opposite. My mom wouldn't use heavy objects. She would use thin, whippy objects. So a wire hanger or a thin belt. But then she would take the buckle end. My mom was fucking brutal, like a pimp beating a hooker in the street. She would take the buckle end of the belt and beat me with it. It was crazy. I think back to it sometimes. I'm like, I was a child, you crazy bitch. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, exactly. My dad, he suspected we'd done something, or my mum had said something or whatever, he'd come looking for us in his car, and there was a castle right by my house, and we'd hang out up the castle, Yeah, and it's a beautiful Clitheroe Castle. And my dad would often pull up in the car, right, get fucking home right now, right? And they'd be like, and he said, "And if you're not home before I am, you're fucking dead," right? And I'm like, "Dad, I'm 9 years old and you're in a car. You're in a car and you expect me to beat you home. In what reality is that even possible?" Okay. So I would sprint home like my fucking life depended on it, because my dad, he'd give us a serious beating. I'd sprint home like my life depended on it. And of course, he'd be waiting at the garden gate, standing there with the garden cane that he just whipped out the garden that maybe the sunflowers are growing. I was like, "Right, I told you to be on before me." Get a good old-fashioned whipping. They were good times.
It was crazy.
Welcome to the Christmas special of Believe You Me. We're going to talk about how our parents used to beat us with sharp objects.
This is what Christmas and Thanksgiving would always end up turning into, though. We would start telling stories, and this is how it turns into fights, because you would tell a story and then somebody gets offended that your version of the story makes them look bad, and then it turns into, "No, that was that. Well, what about you did this?" And then everyone's screaming at each other and fighting. So to be honest with you, this is kind of symbolic as to what families do on Christmas. This is why it always turns into a shit show. You throw some alcohol in there, then all of a sudden you're fucking fist fighting your brother-in-law. It's over.
At our house, it was always Christmas Day was always a massive, massive argument in our house. I mean, looking back, I can understand it. My mum and dad weren't exactly compatible. That's to say the least. And then they had 6 kids. So there was 8 of us inside the house, right? Money was tight, you know what I mean, to say the least. So it's very stressful. Saying that, though, my dad always did a great job. We never went short of anything really. You know, we never went hungry or anything like that. You know, and we always at Christmas. I don't know what illegal shenanigans my dad was into, but he was definitely into them because at Christmas we used to get very spoiled. And as I said, there were 6 kids, and we'd open that Christmas at the front room door on Christmas morning, and there's presents everywhere, right? Fucking everywhere. So I don't know, as I say, what scam he was into, because the job he had back then certainly wasn't paying for that. Okay. Yeah. But, you know, I don't want to get him in trouble, so I won't go into too much detail. But yeah, Christmas Day was always, yeah, as I say, a stressful one. There was always some kickoffs. It always started well. Always started so nice. And then, of course, as tempers flare, and as you say, a bit of alcohol gets thrown into the mix, and then shit starts going south. I remember my dad used to get a Christmas hamper every year. Do they do those here? You pay a small amount of money every week, and then they bring a big hamper, and it's full of like hams and food and treats. No. But predominantly tons of alcohol. And I mean tons of alcohol, you know, to drink over the festive period. And I remember me and my buddy Lester, we came in one night, I think it was Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas in England. And we walked in, and all the booze was out there on display. And he was having a drink with my older brother. And we joined in. I think I was only 15 or 16, but he didn't, you know, everyone drank at that age in England. Of course, in England, it's 18 to drink. So 16, 17, you're almost there. And yeah, that turned into a shit show. Me and my brother had a full-on comrade. We had a full-on scrap. And I mean, full-on fight. He was probably about 18, 19. I was 15, 16. And when I say a full-on fight, I mean a full-on fight. He choked me out unconscious. No. Like, we were having this huge fight. My mum was driving. We were dropping Lester off in the car. We were all hammered drunk, apart from my mum, of course. And we were only kids. And we were having an argument. I'm in the front. And Conrad cracks me from behind. So I'm like trying to hit him in the back. And
you're big dudes. You're not small kids. You're like, you're as big as you are now.
Conrad's 6'6". He's a monster. So we're having a huge, and the car was a mini Metro. It's a tiny little car. So we're fighting in this mini Metro. And then in the end, I jump out of the car. Conrad's trying to get out. I'm hitting him with the car door, you know. And then he gets me down, and he rear naked chokes me because he'd done jiu-jitsu as well. And he's got me in a rear naked choke, right? And my mum's screaming. Lester doesn't know what to do. And there's snow everywhere. It's pitch black. It's like 2:00 in the morning in winter. And he's choking me out, and I'm thinking, this motherfucker. I'm like, So I think, pretend to be dead or unconscious, and he'll let go. So I take this gamble. So I go, and I don't do anything. And I think he'll let go. And when he lets go, I'll jump up and start attacking him again. But he's got me in the rear naked choke, and this motherfucker isn't letting go. And I'm like, okay, well, at what point do I abandon this game plan? Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, pretty sure I'm going to die in a second. But yeah, there you go. That's Christmas in the Bisping house when we were kids.
Wow. So, you know, that whole time you were saying you were undefeated. Your whole beginning of your UFC run, you had that fucking tap out loss to your brother.
Well, no.
Oh, you didn't tap out. Tap or nap.
I did the GSP. I did the GSP.
In Michael Bisping fashion, you didn't fucking tap like a bitch. A fucking pussy taps.
Thank you, Harrington. What kind of pussy taps?
You've never tapped in your life, not once. Unfortunately,
that is. I have.
No, you never did.
I have. Hey, can we just edit that bit out the show? Thank you, Shannon. Just edit that little segment out where it makes me look like a cunt. But I guess that's a natural segue into.
Well, hold on. Let me just say real quick, because I didn't finish what I was saying about. I gave you shit about having people come and put lights in your house. I ended up yesterday because I was trying to go get a tree yesterday. Didn't get it on Tuesday. Didn't get it on Friday. I went to go get it yesterday, and it was pouring rain in New York City, and all the places that have trees were like shut down in my area. So I went online and I ordered a tree. I just simply called the place, and they were like, "Oh, cool, we'll be right over there." Sent me a fucking tree. 2 guys delivered it to my house like 2 hours later. Beautiful fucking tree. They set it up. I just sat there and watched them. You only just got a tree. I got a tree yesterday. And the ornaments. It's almost Christmas. The earlier the tree, the more festive the cheer, the more excited your son James will be. He's like, oh my God, it's Christmas. Please, Lewis, I feel like I already know the answer, but tell me you do an advent calendar with James, where every day he opens the door and he gets a little piece of chocolate and he gets a little bit more excited because the days are counting down to the day that baby Jesus was born. we don't do that. He has the numbers that he turns every day for the countdown.
Okay.
Give him a fucking piece of chocolate every day, okay? It's not Willy Wonka's, fucking chocolate factory. It's not England where we give our kids chocolate every time there's an issue, okay? This is not.
Well, listen, it's a tiny little piece of chocolate compared to listen, I love living in America, but compared to the amount of bullshit that goes into the food out here, a tiny little piece of chocolate, a chocolate chip, shall we say, is nothing to worry about. But as I say, it gets them festive, it gets them excited, it gets them, counting down the days and the anticipation in their eyes and the look of glee as they open it and eat that little piece of chocolate. I remember it, Lewis, as a child, and you're gonna take that away from a young boy.
He turns a fucking number. He's happy. He's like, oh, Dad, shame on me.
Shame on your fathering skills, Lewis.
Well, here's what fucked up. Here's what's really fucked up. Because I thought I was getting the tree earlier, I was like, all right, we ordered all the ornaments on Amazon. I spent like $300 on ornaments. I was like, fine. But then I was like, I couldn't get the tree, or when the ornaments were going to come was going to be after we had the tree. So I was like, fuck it. Let me cancel all the ornaments and I'll go to Target and I'll buy the ornaments in person. I fucking canceled the ornaments. I went to Target. You can't get like just balls. You can't get like a dozen balls of like red balls and a dozen silver balls. That doesn't exist anywhere in the fucking world except the internet. So now I have a tree with no ornaments on it right now. It's just lights wrapped around the fucking tree and I'm waiting for my ornaments.
Well, hold on. I am going to get Rebecca in for this one because she seems to have some kind of addiction and it's a real problem, right? Balls.
Whoa.
She loves some balls.
She's
okay, on
balls.
the tree. She's addicted to balls. No, I'm serious. She keeps coming in from the fucking store with another set of balls.
Where's she
another
getting these balls?
Well, I'm calling her right now. We're gonna find out where this bitch is getting these balls from.
I went to Target. I went to Walmart. I went to fucking CVS. I went to Duane Reade. I went to a specific Christmas store called Christmas in New York. I went all the way into Midtown, took a taxi for 30 fucking minutes into Times Square. They only sell $10 ornaments, individual ones on the walls. What, Shannon?
You can go to Lot Less. It's not far from here, and they have packages of just balls.
Where's Lot Less?
I'll send you the address after.
I'll go right now. It's making me so upset. I just spent so much money to get these fucking. Now I got everything shipped, so it's all coming tomorrow. Now I just spent double the amount of money. Oh, I hate Christmas.
No, you don't hate Christmas. Yeah. A lot of balls. My wife's upset. She's not answering the phone. She's not texting. She's probably
thinking about balls right now.
She's probably, yeah. Oh, no. I hear something in the distance. Hold on. Let me this is how I normally get my wife here.
So you use the shame bell.
Let's see. No. Yeah, but it doubles up as my servant bell.
Okay.
Service. Oh, yeah. She's coming momentarily.
Dude, I really hope she does.
Hold on. One more time. Rebecca. No, she's making me look bad now. That's it. Her pay will be getting docked this week. No, she's obsessed with balls. She is. I don't know what it is, but I was going to say something good then, but I totally forgot. It slipped my mind.
Well, regardless, whatever. So my tree is bare.
Whatever. Who cares?
I'm a shitty dad. Fine. We figured it out. I'm a bad father.
All right, guys, let's just take a quick second to hear from our loyal sponsor, BetDSI.com. BetDSI, as you know, if you listen to the show, are a fantastic, well-experienced betting platform. They have been in business for over 20 years, top-rated business on all review sites. BetDSI is an easy-to-use and fast-playing mobile interface. Bet on games as they go. You get live in-game wagering, options throughout the entire tournaments, make plays throughout entire games and events, and fantastic customer service available 24/7, 365, and best yet, BetDSI has built a reputation on fast payment of winnings. Now, of course, we know if there's a sporting event, I always say this, but it's so true. Throw a few bucks on it, and it makes it more interesting. Of course, we will give you picks as well and hope you win some money. But Lewis, explain the fantastic offer and how it works.
Well, here's the deal, okay? You can go to betdsi.com right now. Obviously, go there. Use their amazing platform. But when you do that, make sure you use the promo code BYM120. Number one, most importantly, that lets them know that we sent you there, and it lets them know that you guys are actually listening to these reads and they're actually working. Number two, if you decide to, you can opt in for a 60% 60% bonus. Anything up to $1,000, they'll match with a 60% bonus. So basically, if you put in $100, they'll match it and give you you'll play with 160 instead of 100. If you use that promo code, you can opt in for those bonuses. Just so you know, if you opt in for a bonus, there is a rollover period. You have to spend a certain amount of money with that bonus money. So that has to roll over a certain amount of time. So just know the difference. If you use the bonus, you have to play with that amount of money for a certain amount of time before you can cash out. If you don't use the bonus, you can cash out right away. So depending on how much you want to gamble, you might want to make a decision based off of that. But once again, it is betdsi.com. The promo code is BYM120. Get your 60% bonus cash. Let them know we sent you and enjoy the fights.
Yeah, thanks, Lewis. So, of course, BYM120. Where were we, Lewis?
Let's talk about the weekend. You were there live in Milwaukee, which is
Milwaukee. Listen, let me tell you something right now. Everybody said, oh, Milwaukee, it's terrible. It's shit. It's all this type of... I liked it. I don't know if it's because I'm unhappy with where I live, but everywhere I go, I think I'd rather live there. Milwaukee has a nice little downtown area. I went for a few runs in the morning around there. I liked it. The people were nice and friendly. It seems like a cool little city. I kind of liked it. Obviously, we were there for UFC on Fox, last show on Fox, as we said the other day, and it did not disappoint. Number one, the highest ratings of any Fox show in the last 2 years, which is kind of weird because, as I said
there
last
wasn't
week,
a lot of buzz. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, it is weird. There was no buzz, and there wasn't really much press reporting on it because of the two Bellator events in Hawaii. But still, had the highest viewing figures for 2 years. But that makes sense. Pardon me. Because the fights were great. The fights were absolutely outstanding. So I think maybe the prelims sucked them in. And then on the main card, the fights, they were very, very good. So I think maybe just retained the viewers. Where shall we start? I mean, what was the fight card? I know the main event. Oh, my God. Let's start with this. The co-main event. Dan Hooker versus Edson Barbozas. Did you watch it, Lewis?
Yeah, I watched the main and co-main. I was working Saturday night, so I watched them on Sunday.
Yeah, oh, good.
Killer job by Barboza. Dude, he's a monster. The problem is when you fight, sometimes when a guy gets beat down the way he gets beat down, and we said this before, MMA fans are very fair weather. So in the moment, you just forget how much of a killer they are sometimes. But yeah, dude, that fucking kick to the body was one of the most painful looking things I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, the thing was, Dan Hooker is a great fighter, and he's going to have a good long career in the UFC. Well, hopefully. Apparently, he's got some complications from a concussion afterwards. I'm sure he's going to be fine. I heard yesterday he had to stay in Milwaukee Hospital for an extra day for observation. But he's looked really good in the UFC. He's been beating all his opposition. He was on a 4-fight win streak. I think they were all stoppages. Knocked out Jim Miller, knocked out Ross Pearson, a couple of other victories as well. But there's a big step up from those guys to Edson Barboza. And now Edson Barboza, his last two fights have been against very good grapplers, Kevin Lee and Khabib. Finally, he got a chance to fight against somebody that's going to accentuate his skill set, shall we say, in Dan Hooker. They're going to stand toe-to-toe. And it was beautiful to watch. I mean, he was clearly the better striker. Dan Hooker impressed me, though, because he was so tough. He kept eating so many shots. Barboza landed on him clean so many times. The lead left hook to the body. Then he'd come upstairs to the left hook to the chin. Uppercuts, leg kicks, head kicks, body kicks, spinning back kicks. He was throwing the kitchen sink at Dan Hooker, and Hooker was still walking him down the whole time. So the heart and toughness that Hooker showed was unbelievable. And it was in the third round, he threw a spinning back kick. It looked like it was going to be over, but Hooker fought through it. And I think it was a big body shot that finally put him down. And and the referee called in and stopped the action. But I'll be honest, Daniel Cormier was calling for this through the fight as he was commentating it. And we were saying the same thing from our viewpoint as well. The referee should have stopped that fight sooner. And the corner should have stepped in because, when they went out for the third round, I mean, he took a big beating in the first round, took a big beating in the second round. At that point, you say, listen, you're not going to win this fight. Unfortunately, tonight isn't your night. He's a young guy. He's got a long career ahead of him. Throw the towel in. There's no shame when your cornerman does it. and you live to fight another day. I mean, as I said, he's been held back in hospital for an extra night for observation. Who knows? That could end your career. You know, you could get some kind of internal bleeding. You could get a concussion that you just never recover from. We see it in boxing all the time. In boxing, referees are quicker to stop fights, and cornermen are much more, it's more prevalent that a cornerman throws in the towel. You know, and I think we need to see that in MMA more. It's very, very rare that it happens in MMA. Perillo did it with BJ Penn against GSP. There was call of it for Raquel Pennington against Nunes. She should have that should have been stopped. So I don't know. I know you're gonna ask me why is that.
Well, I was gonna say maybe is it because there's more ways to win? Because look, in boxing, if you're watching it from that perspective, you're watching, you know, these two guys go at it. Your boxing coach is going like, all right, look, there's no way. We're just watching this. There's no way he's getting his ass beat. He's getting destroyed here. There's no way to get there. Whereas MMA, there's so many paths to victory, and we've watched it happen so many times that anything can happen at any given moment in a fight. I mean, you look at, you know, Anderson Silva, Chael Sonnen. Who saw him throwing up a triangle in that fifth round, you know, Hail Mary moment in the final round. You know, you have times where guys, wasn't there just a fight recently where somebody was losing in like the last second of the fight? He caught a knockout. He was losing that fight. So it does happen. So maybe there's something to that. There's just sort of like, I don't know. You tell me.
Well, excuse me. You're right. I mean, there is something to that in what you just said, and that's a very valid point. If you've got a well-rounded fighter that's unmatched on the feet, outmatched on the feet, and he's clearly losing, you could say, right, listen, avoid this, avoid standing up, he's too good, you're losing, you take this guy down and look to use a submission or whatever. But that's all well and good if you've got two well-rounded guys. You know, Dan Hooker and Edson Barbozas, they're strikers, you know, and no offense to that Kiwi New Zealand wrestling, you know, but I don't think he was going to take him down. So, but you're right. I mean, that is probably part of it. But I still think in mixed martial arts, and by the way, I'm not directing this at Dan Hooker's coaches. I don't know them. I've never met them. I don't know who they are. They could walk past me and spit in my face. I wouldn't have a clue who it was. So this isn't directed at them. This is a general sweeping statement, a generalization. I think in mixed martial arts, the coaches don't have the wealth of experience that they do generally coming from boxing. And boxing's been around for hundreds of years, you know, and boxing coaches, you know, there's a formula to it, you know, whereas MMA is still such a young sport, you know. So I don't know. I think sometimes coaches, of course, they want the best for the fighter, but they also want the best for them, and they want their fighters to prevail. They want their fighters to win, which makes their coaches look good.
There's more, I feel like, in MMA coaching, maybe because I know nothing about boxing, so I might just be speaking out of turn. But in MMA, I do feel like there's more of a spotlight on the coaches than in boxing. In boxing, you hear about a few coaches, Freddie Roach, you know, Floyd Mayweather Sr., but it's just like you kind of hear about them, you know, because of a couple big fighters that they work with.
Yeah.
But like in MMA, there's like a bunch of gyms that have like star coaches and they're profiled, and social media is very big right now. Social media is ingrained in MMA differently than it's ingrained in boxing. I feel like the UFC did a great job at sort of utilizing social media and utilizing all the current trends to kind of stay connected with the fans. So it's a different culture. But I think that the coaches seem to be way more, a spotlight seems to be shining on them way more than really any other sport.
I agree 100%. But I also think part of the problem is what you see is teams in mixed martial arts where if one team's doing well, the UFC or Bellator or whatever the promotion is, they're more inclined to use that team for more of their fighters. You know what I mean? Like I used to experience it, you know, so in a certain team that I was with, that, we've got this guy and that guy, so therefore we've got a good proven record. If we keep winning, they'll take more of our guys, you know, so there is that. A lot of the time,
the coaches and the team end up sort of doubling as a management as well.
Yeah, for sure they do. For sure. You do see that more in mixed martial arts than probably in boxing as well. I think in boxing, you know, you got your clear-cut criteria, you got your manager, you got your boxer, your trainer, and maybe a nutritionist. You know, in mixed martial arts, you do see a coach doubling up as a manager, which shouldn't happen really, you know, because
kind of a conflict.
Yeah, to a certain degree, because a coach has an emotional vested interest in the fight. Now, of course, a manager can as well, but it's different when you're in there in the gym with him day and night and you're sweating with this guy and you're going through all that. That's a very unique bond that you create, you know. So I'm not sure if they should be involved in the business decisions. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying I'm not sure if they should. It's a slight conflict.
A little bit, because you got to figure, you know, a manager's job is to assist in making that fighter as much money as possible, right? Your agent, you know, to help you book things. Your manager, it's like I don't have a manager now, I have an agent, but my manager, more or less, it's their job to, you know, assist me with the business side, assist me in making money. A coach is almost a mentor. A coach has to look out for you, and maybe sometimes throwing in the towel isn't going to be the best thing for your bottom line, and maybe looking at your fighter going, shit, dude, they get that flash knockout in the third round. It's even a better story right now. You'll go out there and fucking go for it, man. It's just, who knows? There's just different things that are pulling you in different directions for whatever reason, and you know, I don't know. It's kind of a debate. I don't know if it would make sense, but I don't know that you see it as much in other sports where you see. But I think you're also seeing that less now, because I think there are more traditional like agents and managers now that are in MMA. Whereas back in the day, I think a lot of the time that was it was such a smaller world.
Well, I think a lot of it also has to do with is that, you know, the coaches just giving both sides of the sword or sides of the coin. The coaches believe in their fighters, and which is great. You know, they think, okay, they can pull it back. You know, you're doing okay. The other guy's getting tired. You know, maybe this is going to be your round and you can get the finish. That's probably the angle that they're thinking of it. I doubt that in those moments they're thinking of monetary gains. I doubt they're being selfish. They're probably fully believe in their fights. Though we've seen you in the gym come back and have a great final round. Your cardio's great. You can do this. I'm sure it's coming from a good place, you know, but still, I think fighter health should come again above everything. You know, it really should. You know, I mean, hopefully he's okay. As I said, he has to stay an extra night. Why? You know, how bad is the concussion? A really bad concussion can stop you from ever fighting again. I mean, look what happened to Max Holloway, the guy from Team Alpha Male that we were talking about recently, Chris Holdsworth, that ended his career. We see it all the time. So, but anyway, first of all, congrats to both of those guys. Go ahead and make your point.
Well, I want to ask you a question, actually, because do you remember, because we're talking about, you know, fighters or coaches needing to look out for fighters and safety, but what about fighters that are doing that? Because I remember it was back in the day. I don't remember who he was fighting, but it was a fighter named Caleb Starnes. And it's I know famous, Caleb. Because there's a web.
The Running Man.
Run Caleb Run was a website. When he started running away in that fight. And I think afterwards, if I'm not mistaken.
I fought on that card.
Oh, you did?
I fought on that card. I fought Charles McCarthy. He was on the undercard. I was on the pay-per-view. I think I opened the pay-per-view. UFC 83, Montreal. George St. Pierre versus Matt Serra 1, where Matt Serra knocked... Oh, no, Matt Serra 2, where Matt Serra got beat down and GSP got revenge. I'm telling you.
Was I there? I might have been there. I was in Montreal. No, it was a little later than that. Shit, no. I saw a fight in Montreal. It wasn't that one. Who the fuck was it? Did Anderson fight in Montreal? No, Anderson fought in Philly.
He didn't. No, so that Rich Franklin fought there as well. Rich Franklin versus, I think it was Travis Luter. I think, I could be wrong there, but I think that's who it was. And yeah, it was my debut at middleweight. And Caleb Starnes versus Nate Quarry, I believe, is the fight.
Yes, it is.
And Caleb, I just didn't understand it because Caleb Starnes, and by the way, we're going back some years here. I was on the Ultimate Fighter 3 with him. And, you know, he's a solid fighter. He's actually a really cool guy, very intelligent guy, but a great fighter. But he did back up a lot in that fight. And Nate Quarry kind of, you know, what's the word, amplified it by gesturing him every time he ran away. But you can't do that in a fight, you know. But the fans made a mockery of him afterwards. They really did.
They really fucked with him. But I'm looking for the quote. Harrington, if you could find the quote from Caleb Starnes, I'd like to get it because I don't want to misquote him. But I believe he said something along the lines of, I don't know if he was hurt or if he just wasn't going to win, if he realized he wasn't going to win and his safety was more important. That was sort of the point that he made, was like, the ref wasn't stopping it. He wasn't finishing me. It was like, I just wasn't going to, you know, win the fight. And, you know, I'm trying not to get hurt. I have a career to think about. And it sort of echoes what you're saying about coaches. But a fighter who did that, you know, it really ruined him. I mean, he was cut after that from the UFC. Sure. And I don't really remember hearing much of him after that. I think he kept on fighting, but I don't think he really did much. But what do you think of that?
Well, the thing is, The thing is that, I mean, as a fighter, yeah, of course, you know if you're in there and the guy's just better than you. For whatever it is, you don't feel good. There's no pop on your strikes or whatever. Or you're just outmatched. You're outgunned, and you're never going to win this fight. For a fighter, it's really difficult though to in the middle of a fight to say to the referee, you know what, I'm done. This guy's too good. That's really, really difficult as a fighter because, as you just said, and as we saw with the UFC, if you do that, you're probably never going to fight in the UFC again. And you're saying to the world. You're saying to the world, I'm not good enough. So that's what your coaches are there for. Or even the referee should have done something. The referee could have said, listen, very frankly, you continue to do this, I'm going to call the fight. Because timidity, I think it's timidity. Is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it's actually a rule. You're not allowed to be timid in the fight. You have to engage at all times.
Lose a point.
You cannot, finally, she shows up. I rang this bell 20 minutes ago, babe, and I expected you to come rather more promptly. So just step in. So here's the problem. We were talking about balls and balls on the Christmas tree.
Hi, Rebecca.
And this doesn't really make sense now. We're in the flow of it before, but Lewis is obsessed with buying balls, and he says you can't get them from Target or anywhere, but you love balls, and you've got thousands of them.
I have thousands of balls. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking to the microphone.
I have thousands of balls.
Yeah, she does, and she buys them from anywhere.
I get them from Target.
You get them from Target? I searched. Dude, we went to Target. We went everywhere. Walmart. It was a goddamn nightmare. Could you guys overnight me some of your balls? That would really help out my Christmas tree. It's very sad, my tree. It has some candy canes and some lights on it right now. I'm waiting for ornaments in the mail.
That's weird.
Rebecca's obsessed with balls. No, this sounds so juvenile. That's not what I'm saying. She's obsessed with the balls on the tree, though. That's what I'm getting at.
There has to be a lot of balls on the tree.
Yeah, she doesn't want any space on it. It has to be
she has like very cluttered tree. No, okay.
Very cluttered, very colorful, very vibrant.
Can I see the tree? Can you turn the camera to the tree or no? Is that possible? Is that
no? It's in the other room. I mean, I could pick up the monitor of the TV and carry it in there. Take a picture of the phone and send it to Lewis and put it on the tree. Go
we
ahead,
can put it on. Yeah, we can put it on the podcast.
Yeah, put it on the screen. Take a picture and you got Lewis's number.
Just upload it to Instagram.
Do it here.
Do it on there and upload it to Instagram. Mike, we should talk about Robinhood really quick, which I've been having so much fun with. I signed up for Robinhood, it's an investment app that lets you buy, sell, and trade stocks, EFTFS, options, and cryptos, all commission free. It's free. You don't have to worry about people taking your money. There's no ulterior motives here. You get to use their app absolutely free. They strive to make financial services work for everyone, not just the wealthy. It is a non-intimidating way for stock market newcomers to invest for the first time with true confidence. It is a simple and intuitive, clear design with data presented in an easy to digest way.
Absolutely. And for those people that maybe have experience in this field, they will know that the brokerages, they charge you commission and fees, etc. Well, there's none of that with Robinhood and other brokerages. They charge up to $10 for every trade, but Robinhood doesn't charge commission, fees, trade stocks, and keep all of your profits. Of course, it's an easy to understand chart and market data. Place a trade with just 4 taps on your smartphone. Robinhood web platform also lets you view stock collections, things like the 100 most popular sectors like entertainment and social media. And they've got curated categories like female CEOs and analyst ratings of buy, hold, sell for every single stock. And of course, you learn by doing. Learn how to invest as you build your portfolio. Discover new stocks and track favorite companies with personalized news feeds, custom notifications for price movements so you never miss the right time to invest. Now, of course, we are talking about money. We're talking about investments. We're talking about stocks and shares and all the rest of it. So it is important stuff and it is your money. But as I said, very, very little fees. And if you want to get involved, then give this a go. You want to learn. You want to dip your toes in the market, dip your toes in the pond, get your feet wet, so to speak. Robinhood is giving listeners to the BYM free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help you build your portfolio. Sign up at believe.robinhood.com. That's believe, BELIEVE.robinhood.com. Okay? Free stock. Go to believe.robinhood.com. I don't know what you're waiting for. So, yeah, I mean, that's about it, Lewis, right?
That is about it, man. Enjoy your stock trading. Let's get back into the show.
So we where were we? We were talking about the fight there, Caleb. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you do that, you start running away from fights. You start telling the referee that I want the fight over. You're never going to fight again, But we do need. See, the problem is to stop a fight. It takes a lot of strength of character. It's hard, for a coach to do it, for anyone to do it. But you got to do it. You got to think what's best in the long-term overall health. But anyway, just want to say that.
Well, he has the quote from Caleb Starnes.
Oh.
He actually has the audio of it. You play it. Go ahead. Yeah, it's a multimedia platform, right? We could just
chew on the left side of my mouth. I got a black eye. I got lumps all over my head. I guess that's not enough for people. They want me to stand in there and exchange blows until I suffer some type of head injury.
Okay, so yeah, he was just saying he was losing. But, I mean, at what point do you just between rounds do you tell your coaches, "Hey, fucking throw in the towel. I don't want to come back out." But it's a weird thing. But even that, wouldn't your coaches sort of look down on you if you did that? If you said, "Hey, throw in the towel," if you whispered to them, "Hey, throw in the towel."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, was it Raquel Pennington? Was it against Cyborg or Nunes? And she said after round 4, "I'm done. And then the coach was like, "No, please. Come on, please don't do that. Keep going. So
Nunes. Yeah.
That was a little controversial at the time. Yeah. Well, listen, I know of this. If I said to Jason Prillo, "Jay, this guy's too good. I'm getting my ass kicked out there. I'm getting my ass kicked. Please throw in the towel." He'd throw in the towel on the fight and he'd throw in the towel on me.
In
He'd
life.
be like, you're not the guy I thought you were, Michael. You expected me to give up my free time, but you're a little punk bitch.
But
okay.
so Caleb Starnes is in that situation in that moment. He's like, "What do you do? They're not stopping it. They're not throwing in the fucking towel. I'm getting my ass kicked. Anytime I come in and exchange with this guy, he's fucking destroying me." I feel bad.
Oh,
right.
no.
So moving on.
Main event. Main event, Kevin Lee, Iaquinta. I don't know if you can pull this up, Harrington or Shannon, but Kevin Lee walked into the octagon looking like he was going to the Pimp of the Year Awards. I said we did a rehearsal and they showed him walking in with like this leopard print raincoat on, swirling something on his hands and like dancing and being super cocky, whatever. He was feeling good. He was in the moment. He's like feeling confident. That's all well and good. But it was kind of comical the way he looked. So I said in the rehearsal, I said, "Oh yeah, Kevin Lee walking in here looking like the 70s hooker." And they went, no, you cannot say that. I said, "But it's not swearing." They went, "No, you can't say hooker." Okay, all right. So I changed it. I said, "Oh, looking like he's going to the Pimp of the Year Awards." And he looks like he might be a front runner to win, looking at him.
Can I see him?
He
Can we
walked
see
in
a picture of him? All right, go ahead.
While he's looking, I do
it?
have the picture of Mike's tree.
Oh, you have a picture of Mike's tree.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
There's a lot of balls.
I see. Balls everywhere.
Yeah, see what I mean? And she wants more. Because there's little bits there that you could probably stick another ball in. She's just obsessed with balls.
Yeah, we do it a little different.
There is our tree.
We do some
With our
balls. We do
shitty-
some ornaments. You just got to mix it up. We were.
Are you a tinsel guy?
Yeah, tinsel, garland. I like tinsel. I like garland. I like it all.
Rebecca says that tinsel is very tacky and it's not allowed in our house. I like a bit of tinsel going around the tree. Reminds me of when you grew up in your house, we used to have like things attached to the roof as well. Did you do them when you were younger?
Oh,
like
things,
shiny, glittery bullshit.
Yeah, of course. In my living room right now. In fact, hold on. Shit. Do I have a picture? I wonder if I can send you a picture of my living room right now. There's like lights in my living room. There's different things. And by the way, you're calling tinsel what I call garland. Yes. The tinsel is the long thing, the gold, the gold or silver. I'm talking about the icicles, like the things that you pull out by the strand and you throw them on the tree like that. You got to be gay in order to really get it on the tree the right way. You got to be a little gay. That's fucking.
I'm not feeling that, Lewis. I'm sorry. It's a
positive thing. It's a positive thing. I'm appreciating gay culture right now, and I'm incorporating them in our Christian holiday.
I don't like it.
You don't like gays?
Hey, each to their own. I'm not saying I don't like gays. I'm just saying I don't like gay Christmas tree decorations.
That's what it is. Just fucking. Hey.
No,
I sexy dick.
The way that you do
I love balls.
Can we get that image of Lewis doing that and just send that to me, please? Lewis, you don't want me. You don't want me to send to Harrington and Shannon and play it on this podcast. What I sent to you Friday.
Doggy, do you think they haven't seen it? They've been working for me. That's 7 years ago. What do you think's going on here?
No, I know, but still, I'm sure you'd rather that. I've sent a video of Lewis sucking a dick on stage. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we don't have to play it on the show. Fine.
No. All right. Okay.
All right. Let's talk about the main event.
Anyway,
Let's talk about the main event.
All right. Yeah. So Kevin Lee, Iaquinta. Al walked in. Sorry. Kevin walked in, very cocky and very confident, and rightly so. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. He'd had a great training camp. He felt very, very positive going into this. Of course, his last fight was against Edson Barbozas. He smashed Edson Barboza. What have we got here?
This is the video of him coming out. Turn the volume down while we talk. It's okay. We can just watch it while we talk.
Oh, yeah. This is okay. Play this. This isn't the bit I was talking about. He was talking about going to the arena. But this is as he's walking into the fight here. I actually spoke about this to Iaquinta afterwards. I mean, you see him there dancing his way in, which is great because you do want to be as relaxed as possible walking into a fight. But here's what I thought, and this is what Iaquinta said. I got to stop saying Iaquinta. I just say Al or Raging Al. It's what Al said. He said, there's no way I was losing that fight. There's no way I was letting this motherfucker walk in, dancing like that, not taking it serious, and beating me on top. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, no, I totally feel you, buddy. I'd have felt the same way. But
is that a sign of somebody not taking it seriously, or is it a sign of somebody being comfortable, relaxed, trying to show you that they're comfortable and relaxed? Yeah, it's not. I don't think it is disrespect. I think it is like he's cool, he's calm, he's relaxed. He's showing you I'm not fucking bothered.
Oh, no, for sure. Absolutely. I'm not saying it's a negative from his standpoint, but it's a negative from my standpoint. If I'm standing in that octagon waiting for you and you're dancing in like you're at a Michael Jackson concert, you know, I'm like, you fucking prick, eh? You're so sure and you're so calm and look at you. Oh, you're in the moment. You're having a great time. Well, you're not going to be enjoying yourself in 5 minutes, asshole. Wait till I get my hands in you. Yeah, go on. Lap it up. Have your moment. Have your fucking dance. I'm going to tap dance on your face. Okay, that's what it said to me, and it's what it said to Al. But as I say, that is good. It is better to be like that than all pent up and aggressive and angry. Way better. Anything to add before we get into the fight?
No, but I mean, I don't think. Do we see guys getting crazy and amped up anymore? I think we're past the time of the guys fucking. Then back in the day, it was even easy. Remember, like. Old school UFC, it wouldn't even be like angry. Like the theatrics were so much more crazy. Remember that guy Chemo? He come out with the 1 year he came out with a crucifix. He just carried it down to the ring with him. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
that was like killer. But like I think that we sort of like the whole juice head adrenaline. Like let me go out there and fucking be angry. I don't really see guys doing that anymore unless there's some real beef. But even come fight time, you don't really see it as much.
No, I used to try and do that early in my career. I used to like. I just close my eyes, go find a quiet corner and like just like psych myself up, you know. But I stopped doing that after a while. But listen, the fight was great. The fight certainly delivered. It was fantastic. You know, Iaquinta was awesome. Commiserations to Kevin Lee. I know Kevin Lee afterwards was really devastated. He put a post on social media. He was kind of annoyed. But Al won that fight. Al won that fight.
He thought he won it. You know, after the fight.
Al won the fight fair and square. He first round was close. I gave it to Al. In fact, I think I gave the first two to Al and the second two to Kevin. Even though, so here's the thing. I think it was rounds 3 and 4. I might be wrong, but I think it was rounds 3 and 4. For half of the round, Kevin got him down and threatened the rear naked choke. But then the second half of the round, or the first half of the round, whichever way around it was, Al was on the feet and landed good shots and dominated the stand-up. So I don't know which one you score more. For me, I lean towards those rounds being Al's, but I'm a striker. I'm not a wrestler, so the score is bigger with me. But Kevin did have control. But listen, it all came down to a lot of people's eyes. Dana, a lot of the judges had it 2-2 going into the 5th round. And the 5th round cannot be argued. You know, Al's calmness and skill in that fight was fantastic. What I really liked about Al was that he stalked Kevin Lee the whole time, and his head movement was absolutely sensational. He walked in, he had his head low, and a nice powerful stance, and he would slip the shots just enough perfectly and then deliver beautiful counters. His boxing was great. I mean, I said well done to Ray Longo, but he's done a great job with Raging Al's boxing. It was absolutely fantastic. And, Kevin didn't really have an answer for it, which is surprising considering Kevin has a 7-inch reach advantage. If he used his jab more, he could have been way more effective. But, of course, when there's two people in there, it's not always that easy. But Raging Al looked fantastic, and he deserves a massive fight next. I mean, he just lost to Khabib on 1 day's notice. Went 5
short
rounds.
Notice. It's beautiful, though. It actually couldn't be better. It's in a weird way, it's a blessing in disguise because he got the fight short notice, going 5 rounds with Khabib.
Let's call Al.
I'd love to
Let's
call
Al. I spoke to him about coming on the podcast. Let's see if he picks up. Have you got his number?
Let me see. Do I have it? I think I do.
I spoke to him about calling, about coming on the show. He said he would.
Yeah, I should have his number. Let me make sure I have it. Let's see what happens here. Hopefully we get him on. That'd be great.
I don't.
But it's a good position to be in because it's a short notice fight. Having that fight against Khabib did more for his stock, losing the way that he did, especially after Khabib beat Conor the way he beat Conor, because he put a fucking beat down on him. And then Al can say, dude, I went the distance with Khabib, who's an absolute fucking monster and an absolute killer. And now he's got this win over Kevin Lee, which looks great. He puts himself into a really, really favorable position to where more people are interested in watching him fight again for the title, or more people are interested in watching him in bigger fights.
Well, for sure. I mean, he's certainly a very entertaining fighter and person. I mean, just walking out to the Sopranos theme tune, I thought was fucking awesome. Being from New Jersey and being that type of guy, walking out to the Sopranos theme tune was great. I thought that was hilarious. I said this Saturday night, which people kind of like raised their eyebrows a little bit. I said fighting Khabib was the perfect warm-up fight for Kevin Lee. Now, Khabib's the champ. Khabib's undefeated. He's 27-0. What I meant was, though, is if you can, Khabib's got one game plan to take you down and pound you out, and if you can stop the takedowns of Khabib, if you can get back to your feet from Khabib, then that's perfect preparation for a guy like Kevin Lee that wants to do a similar type of game plan that maybe isn't as quite as effective at it. So that was a great preparation for him. He won that fight. I think he won a lot of fans on Saturday night. I think he won a lot of fans against Khabib. And I think, life is a good thing for Raging Al right now. I mean, he deserves a big fight next. He called out McGregor. I think that would be an awesome fight. I think I'd lean towards Al in that fight as well. Who else did he call out? I don't know.
Tony.
He needs Tony Ferguson.
Tony, Tony. A fight that makes sense.
Yeah. It is a fight that makes sense as well. I mean, to be honest, Al's got to be up there now. I mean, I'm sure Kevin Lee was one of the top guys. So now you've got Khabib, Tony, Conor, Al, I would say. Al's got to be up there, man. And it's nice to see him finally getting the respect that he deserves because he's a blue-collar guy. He's a hard worker. He's been around for years. He's fucking awesome to watch. I think he's got a great personality. And he's real. He's a real guy. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's just because I resonate with that type of person a little bit more, but I'm a big fan of the guy. Now, you know what I mean?
But I think everyone resonates.
Just like one of the guys.
Yes, everyone resonates. It's why people like you, once you said, we talked after the Rogan interview. You're like, yeah, dude, the amount of positive feedback that you got after that interview was because the reality was that was 3 hours unedited, showing who you really are. And people that listen to the podcast know, but people that aren't fans of the podcast maybe only get to see bits and snippets and little bits and pieces from what the UFC lets you see, and a lot of especially when you were sort of in those formative years for your career. You were being portrayed as this fucking brash, dickheady, fucking cocky asshole, and that was that, and it was sort of refreshing. So now when people find out, like, holy shit, dude, you come from humble beginnings, you're a family man, how hard you worked to get to the title, the shit you went through to get the title eventually, and how the odds were stacked against you. That is a fucking movie plot. Nobody gives a fuck. Like,
sure.
Dude, TJ Dillashaw is gorgeous. He's got abs. He's been a stud wrestler his whole life. He's getting his dick sucked since he was 12 by older hot chicks. God bless his soul. That's not an interesting movie. Nobody gives a fuck about that movie. But a guy like you, or a guy like Raging Al, who, it just didn't seem like things come easy for him. That's a much more interesting plot.
You know, it's funny you say that. And by the way, thank you very much. I agree with what you said. And there certainly was some interesting editing, shall we say, from the UFC back in the day. I remember season 14 of The Ultimate Fighter, me and Jason Miller, we were the coaches. And after one of the fights, it was Diego Brandao. He was on my team and he destroyed, I think it was Steven Seiler. I could be wrong there. He destroyed him in the first round, knocked him out cold. It was a real bad knockout. And after the fight, the guy that just got knocked out, he was upset and he shed a little tear. You know, it's a big opportunity being on The Ultimate Fighter and then to lose badly like that. Of course, it's upsetting. And I went in the octagon and I went up to the guy that had just been knocked out. I think it was Seiler. And I was like, listen, you know, I gave him a little hug and I gave him some words of encouragement like you do. And then Miller came in and me and Miller started having a back and forth. And then Miller squirted a bottle of water on me. And then we started talking shit. And I was like, blah, 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 blah. Fuck you, all this type of shit. But when the episode aired on TV, they edited it in such a way that the guy gets knocked out. Then I jump in the ring and start talking shit straight away. They cut out all the part, me giving him a hug, me giving him words of encouragement, because that doesn't sell. That's not interesting. That's not a good storyline, you know? And I remember Dana White gave me the best piece of advice ever. So whilst there was some creative editing a lot over the years, I did say the things that I said, and I never forget Dana White, because I got hammered as a coach one night in the Ultimate Fighter house, and I was acting like kind of a dick. I was breaking all the rules and letting the fighters use my phone and call home and all that type of stuff, you know. and the main producer, I did, yeah. And then I took the camera off the cameraman. I started filming the cameraman. I'm like, see how you like it, asshole, you know. And then I got kicked out of the house. I got kicked out of the fucking house.
You were a coach.
Yeah, I was a coach. I got kicked out of the house. And then the next day, I turned up at the gym because there's a fight on and like, you know, kind of like sheepish because I'm like, I can't remember anything. I knew I was hammered, you know. And like the main producer, Craig Pelagian, came up and starts like fucking getting in my face. Don't you ever touch one of my cameras again. Okay, you do that, you're off the show, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, calm down. All right, listen, you plowed us with alcohol. I got a bit pissed, you know. Anyway, then Dana came over and Dana says, bro, you might want to fly your wife to Australia when this episode airs. I'm like, come on, Dana. I said, don't show all that stuff. I said, you haven't going to show that. And anyway, the best piece of advice he ever gave me was this. He said, Mike, let me give you some advice. If you don't want to look like an asshole on TV, don't act like an asshole on TV. I'm like, yes. Yeah, you can't argue with that. If you just don't act in such a way that even could possibly be edited, then they've got nothing to start with. So yeah, if you don't want to look like an asshole on TV, don't act like an asshole on TV. You know, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah, they can only edit. They can only edit you so much. You know.
Yeah. If you don't give it to them, but then you become a boring bastard. Yeah. And you become vanilla and bland and generic. And I don't want that because I'm anything but that.
Then next thing you know, you're headlining a Bellator card.
Yeah, well, there you go. And your name's Lyoto Machida and Gegard Mousasi.
Rory McDonald.
Poor guys.
Great fighters. I mean, holy shit, I wouldn't want to watch them on TV.
Poor guys. They could have been fighting in Milwaukee, but instead they're fighting on the beach in Hawaii. Oh, they really fucked up there. Where did it all go wrong?
As you know, as we mentioned Bellator, side note, we never touched on this the last episode we did, and there's been a bunch of back and forth about Nick Diaz. Dana White saying they have him signed to fight Jorge Masvidal. Nick Diaz is saying that's just not true. And I guess he did another interview where he was hammered, and he was like, yeah, you got to go to Bellator. That's where it's at. Scott Coker needs to step up and make him an offer. What the fuck is going on with Nick Diaz? Why is there no rhyme or reason to what's going on with this guy? I want to see him. We all want to see him come back. But at what point is enough going to be enough? And you're like, dude, stop. Like, as a fan, you're pissing me off. Like, just fucking make a decision. Go to Bellator then. I'll watch you fight in Bellator. Fine. Yeah. Go to Bellator. Do it.
Well, I don't think it's as simple as just going to Bellator, because if he's under contract with the UFC, then, that creates all kinds of legal problems for him and possibly Bellator as well. He said yesterday, I read on ESPN.com, Helwani had done an article, and he said that, I didn't even start talking about a fight. I didn't even contact them and saying I wanted a fight. This is the UFC doing this, so I'm not bothered. He said, I've got multiple businesses that I'm running and I'm busy with that. He said, if they want to make me an offer that makes sense for me, that makes sense for the UFC and makes sense for me, he said, then I'll entertain it. By the way, I'm just saying what was quoted in this article yesterday. If you look it up on ESPN.com, I see that's what you're doing right now. But, Diaz, just fight, man. When he's older, I mean, I don't know what's going on in his personal life. I don't know what's going on with his business endeavors. Who knows? Maybe he's making a ton of money outside the UFC and he doesn't need to fight. If that's the case, then fair enough. And I respect that, of course. But just be frank and say, listen, I think my fighting days are behind me. But if he does want to fight, I think he might be filled with some regret when he's older. You only get one career, and he hasn't fought since 2013. It's almost 5 years since he fought Anderson Silva. In January, it's 5 years.
And he looked good in that fight. He lost, but he looked good
great
in that fucking fight. What are you going to do? Against a guy who, and Nick, by the way, has fought as low as 160 pounds. He's not a 185 pounder by any sense. Anderson has fought and won at 205 pounds. So he fought a guy who was bigger than him and technically more proficient than him. And he still fought a really close fight with him. The problem with Nick, and I think this is going to be, not only is it going to be a time thing where he's taken off and ring rust and all that other bullshit, but it's like, I don't think Nick Diaz is out there training and sparring with world champion level fighters all the time. I don't think he's keeping himself in that type of condition. The sport's evolving constantly, bringing in guys I think that's why, guys that become champions, when you get to the UFC, you get to that high level, you see the best side of these guys. I can never really tell how good a guy is going to be when he's not in the UFC yet, because they're not even training on that level. When you're training to be the absolute best against the absolute best, especially at a championship level, it's a different type of thing. And I would bet my life on it that Nick Diaz is smoking weed and playing with nunchucks.
Yeah, 100%. And I probably sign off on that bet as well. He probably is. But there is something, I got two things to say on that. Firstly, the fight is still within him. That mental edge, that ability to fight, that certain special something that a person needs to be able to step into an octagon and fight at such a high level and be successful, that will never go away. Yeah, okay, there might be new techniques that evolve and this and that, but at the end of the day, when you've got it, you've got it. I don't give a fuck. I'll sit on my ass for 5 fucking years and come out and beat someone up. Do you know what I mean? Ring rust only exists inside your mind, so I don't really think that's too much of an issue. I think for Diaz, though, the biggest thing, and as I say, I don't know what his business endeavors are, so if I'm speaking out of turn, then I apologize, but looking at it from the outside in, it would appear that he's letting the best years of his life as a fighter, the small window that you have, he's letting that pass him by. He hasn't fought for almost 5 years. The fans really want to see him because they enjoy him. And I understand he wants more money, and that's great. I understand that. But I think maybe when he's 60 years old and he's sitting there, he might look back and think, you know what? I should have fought more. He's at a point now. He's got a big name. He's very famous. He's a very, very good fighter. He's one of the most famous fighters in the game. Him and his brother. But they're not active. And realistically, yeah, I get it. They're holding out because of their principles. They want more money. But ultimately, they're only hurting themselves. And I respect the fact that they drive a hard bargain. You should do that. You should get what you're worth, 100%. I'm not saying they shouldn't. But ultimately, if if the UFC is the best horse in town and they can't go anywhere else, fucking fight. Make some money.
You're only worth, you say, get what you're worth. You're only worth what somebody is willing to pay for you. So if you keep on coming back and going, hey, I'm worth this, and no one's willing to pay to that amount of money to see you fight, then you need to reevaluate your self-worth. I'm not saying that, there's not a bigger fan of the Diaz brothers. Like if Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz are fighting, I'm rooting for them 99.9% of the time. I couldn't imagine if Nick Diaz fought you, that'd be the only time I think I couldn't root for Nick Diaz. Like, oh, well, fuck, I can't root for Nick Diaz now. That sucks because I'm that much of a fan of his. But I think that they have an inflated sense of self-worth. And I think that they see what happened with Conor, and there's good and bad. The good side of what happened with Conor is that I think Conor opened the window for a lot of fighters to make a lot more money. And a lot of people will go, wait a minute, timeout. There's that much money in this business? Hold on. But then the bad side is then some guys are going like, oh, well, I want I'm not fighting until I see that. And now we might not see guys like Nick or Nate Diaz fight again because they're holding out for this sort of unattainable goal.
Well, it's like I think it was last episode we were talking about it. And listen, I'm all for fighters making more money. You know, I think it's fair to say that the UFC, you know, is a very, very profitable business. You know, they sold for $4.something billion. But we are seeing that change over years. And Conor McGregor was a big part of that. You know, I mean, credit where credit's due. Ronda Rousey was making a lot of money. I'm sure there's other fighters out there as well. If John Jones comes back and wins in style against Gustafsson in a couple of weeks, we might see him be one of those big guys as well. So there is more money being earned now, you know, but I think there's a lot of other guys that aren't champions, that aren't pay-per-view draws, that they want that kind of money as well, you know, and that isn't a sustainable business model, and B, some of those fighters aren't worth it. You know, they've only got that platform of being a main event. By the way, this sounds like I'm anti-fighter. I'm not. I'm all about the fighters getting everything what they deserve. But the UFC now, as a business, are contracted to various TV networks to put on X amount of fights per year. They're contracted to put on 50 fights per year, and you know, they're not pay-per-view. They need to fill them. So they create these main events, you know, for guys on the roster because they need to fill it. That doesn't mean if you headline an FS1 card, that doesn't mean you should be getting pay-per-view and worth millions of dollars. Because if they had decided to put that fight on that thing or have that business contract to fulfill, that fight wouldn't take place in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like people are clamoring. I mean, who was the last FS1 headliner? Who was it?
I don't even know.
Last couple of weeks ago. All right. Well,
point proven, by the way.
Who was it?
Point fucking proven. We don't even remember the last Fox Sports 1 headliner, and we talk about this shit every week. What, Arrington?
Usman versus Santiago Ponzinibbio, right?
Usman
versus Santiago Ponzinibbio. Okay. No, Dos Anjos.
Yeah,
no,
versus Dos Anjos. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good, buddy. Dos Anjos, great fighter. Legendary, really is. OG of the game. Awesome. I love the guy personally, and I love watching him fight. He's a true fighter. Usman, hella talented. Couldn't sell a pay-per-view to save his life right now. You know, he probably would sell some.
Usman.
Yeah, exactly. Costa Filler. Usman? So that's my point. Now listen, terrific fighters, yes. Work very hard, yes. Deserve to be compensated very well for their time. The fact they're willing to step in there and fight, yes.
Of course.
Millions of dollars per
and they
fight.
And they are, by the way. They're compensated pretty damn well. We did touch on this in the last show. It's like, well, what would you do? What do you think would happen if it wasn't a UFC promoted event? If you just went to some regional show, would Kamaru Usman, would anybody be watching? Would anybody really care? He would be.
Well, I'm sure in his immediate community and this and that,
of course,
you know, and people outside of that would go and watch him. He's a very, very talented mixed martial artist.
I'm talking about the amount of money to be made. Could he sell a pay-per-view? Like, look, Conor could do this. Conor could go and get a pay-per-view deal by himself, say, I'm going to fight on this card, Conor fucking FC, and I'm going to headline it. And he could probably sell 1 million pay-per-views based off of his own name. I don't think he'd sell 4 or 5 million pay-per-views. I don't think it is very much a big part of the UFC and the way they market and it's not even just the fact that they're putting the money into it.
He can probably sell somewhere between 500 to 800,000 pay-per-views, I'd say, by himself without the UFC marketing and all the rest of it. But he's an incredible marketing machine as it is. In the papers this morning, by the way, he just dodged a speeding fine or something. He's already banned from driving. He's 6 months. He got his license taken away for 6 months, but he beat something in court this morning. Anyway, popped up on my Twitter. Sorry, I don't have all the fucking details, everybody. Anyway, but yeah, you know, but just going back to our point, you know, or even Ponzinibbio, Gunnar Nelson, I think they were an FS1 FS1 main event. Same thing, talented fighters, but you're fulfilling a business contract for the UFC to Fox. You know what I mean? People aren't clamoring to those arenas to watch that fight in particular. Yes, that's the best fight of a collection of fights that have been put on that night. And that is what they are deeming the main event, you know. But that is it. Whoa, we have got to see Ponzinibbio versus Gunnar Nelson. This is crazy. Now I'm saying they're both exciting fighters. They're both great. And I love watching both of them. But they're in the main event slot because the UFC put this business model together.
And it's an opportunity. Well, they should.
Pardon
It's
me?
an opportunity at that point when the UFC decides to main event two guys like that. What the UFC is doing is they're saying, "Hey, just so you know, we want all eyes on you. You now have an opportunity to possibly parlay this into this next big fight. Now, maybe a pay-per-view, maybe main event or co-main event of a pay-per-view, or a title shot, or whatever it is." It's not lost. Anybody complaining about the amount of money they make if they're main eventing a Fox Sports 1 card, it's sort of what you do with the opportunity. And you've seen guys, this isn't anything in life. This isn't just in the UFC, but everything that happens, you can sort of parlay into the next opportunity. And the guys who can play the game the right way, that's exactly what they do. And you can make a shit ton of money. And there's no other game in town that's going to pay you anywhere near as much money. And a part of that is the fact that the UFC, they were very, very smart with the business, and they've set themselves up for a long-term plan for both themselves and the fighters. The fighters are all reaping the benefits of the work that the UFC is putting in.
Well, and that was on display, really. I mean, I know Tito and Chuck Liddell, they're guys that are past their best days, but they did that. They went to Golden Boy. They got 200 and 250,000 respectively, and I think they sold 30, 40,000 pay-per-views, so which was a shame for them. I wish they sold a lot more just for Tito and Chuck, because they deserve it for being OGs of the sport. But there you go. Let's leave that one there.
Mike, real quick, let's just talk about Blue Chew, which is one of my favorite sponsors. I barely even have sex anymore without using my Blue Chew. It is not, a lot of people don't know what it is. People hear about it sometimes and they're like, well, what is that? First of all, it has the same active ingredients as Viagra or Cialis. This is a chewable tablet. It tastes good. It's like a little piece of fucking candy that gives you a boner. This is not for, any sort of dysfunction or erectile dysfunction. This is a sexual enhancement pill that can really help you. I'm telling you right now, I feel like more of a man. I've been with a chick for a couple of years now. Everyone knows you have sex with the same person over the course of time. You need a little spice in your life. This is just the perfect amount of pepper on my fucking salad. It's a bad analogy. Whatever.
Perfect amount of pep. Perfect amount of pep around your step or your salad. I don't know, whatever you're into. But if you are looking to last a little longer, maybe go a few extra rounds, then BlueChew.com is the way to go. It's the first ever chewable that brings you performance in the bedroom. It's the first ever chewable that brings your performance in the bedroom to another level. As Lewis was saying, you don't have to go to the doctor's office. You don't have to get an appointment at the doctor. Wait in a pharmacy line, because Blue Chew ships straight to your door in discreet packaging. And as Lewis said, listen, it's been a while since Lewis felt like a man. I don't know if he's ever really felt like a man, but he can pretend to be one when he's on Blue Chew, because he becomes the man. He becomes the man of that bedroom. He's doing things that he never thought possible before. And of course, because it's Christmas and because we love you guys, we got a fantastic deal for you. So how do you do it? How do you get involved? How do you get this miracle wonder pill that you chew, not swallow? Pardon the pun, but here's what you do. You visit BlueChew.com and you get your first shipment free when you use the promo code BYM.
Happy New Year.
$5 shipping. Again, that's BlueChew.com, promo code BYM. And just quickly, Blue Chew is a performance enhancer. As we said, if sex were an Olympic sport, Blue Chew would be banned. Blue Chew gives you confidence in the bedroom, and Blue Chew is the first ever chewable with the same active ingredient, as Lewis said, as Viagra and Cialis. You can take it on an empty stomach. It's cheaper than other competitors. It only takes a few minutes to fill out the form. So really, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go to BlueChew.com, BlueChew, BlueChew.com, promo code BYM. Pay $5 shipping, and oh my God, let the good times roll, baby. All right, Lewis, where were we? Let's try and go something a little bit more lighthearted. I saw in YouTube the other day, someone was like, I want to put in a video question, but I'm kind of scared because all they do is rip the piss out of everybody that puts them in. You're looking puzzled there, Lewis. What is with that look?
I mean, whatever. Don't be a pussy. We rip the shit out of each other. I make fun of Michael Bisping's dumb head. He makes fun of my face. It's a thing. It's out of love. We fucking love the fans. I love the fans of this show. Some of the coolest fans in the world. MMA podcast fans can be very, very, very cunty. If you see some of the comments and some of our competitors, they don't even have. They have people that just hate them, and that's where they go to the listeners from. I would say we get 95% positive. 99% positive feedback. So I love our fans. But one of the reasons that I love our fans is because I can look at a fan's fucking stupid haircut and say, oh, what the fuck's wrong with your hair? I played Fortnite the other night with a guy. I played Fortnite with and I just trashed him the whole time. I was telling him that his girlfriend was getting fucked by another guy every time he'd kill me. It was great.
It's like, I'm trying to be careful not to speak over each other because I do digitize. It's like, Lewis, a lot of people saying, and you're not wearing it today, the lumberjack hat. You know, there was some negativity floating around online over that choice of headwear, Lewis. I see today you saw those comments and you thought, yeah, you're right. Or you're just very insecure and you put on a different headdress. I see that you listen.
I don't fucking pander for nobody. All right. Now I'm going to wear complete lumberjack outfits for the rest of the history of the show. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack and the hat to match. DJ Mikey B in the motherfucking house.
The hard to hard. You never thought a hip hop could take it that far. Now I'm in the limelight because of rhyme tight. Time to get paid, blow up like the world trade. Born sinner, the opposite of a winner. Remember when I used to eat sardines for dinner? Brucey B, Kid Dupree, Funkmaster Flex, Blunt Star Ski. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. Cut the crib, same number, same hood. It's all good.
By the way, everyone in the booth knew all of those lyrics. That was great. I watched them. Everyone in the booth just mouthed all the lyrics with you.
Everybody knows that song.
If you don't know, now you know. Go ahead, finish. What were you saying?
Jigger.
I just literally watched him go through his mind. Like, should I say it? I don't care. It'll be funny if I say it. Should I say it?
No, I said Jigger.
I know you said Jigger.
Let's not even. Yeah, I know. Jay-Z, Hove, the Jigger Man. Anyway, let's not even float around that word. Let's not even toy with it. Let's not eggshell. Let's not tiptoe. Let's do anything. Let's just avoid that word, okay? Anyway, moving on. Quick. I wanted to walk out to that song so bad. I wanted that to be one of my songs because, I don't know, that song resonates with me, but it never happened. But, all right, video questions. Do we have any?
Do we have any video questions, Harrington? Fuck yeah, we do. All right, first of all, real quick, before we do that, let me just say, if you love the show, every episode we've ever done, 104 episodes available on demand whenever you want them. The latest 15 are on iTunes and YouTube, so you can subscribe on iTunes, you can subscribe on YouTube. But if you want everything ad-free, I know people bitch and moan about the ads, go to gasdigitalnetwork.com, use the promo code BYM. It's a 14-day free trial. You spend a few bucks per month. You have access to all of our shows on demand. I do 2 other shows on the network, Legion of Skanks and Real Ass Podcast. We have 20 shows on the network, 4,000 hours of content on demand, better than Netflix, better than anything else you're going to get. So use that promo code BYM at gasdigitalnetwork.com.
Better than Netflix, guys.
It is.
Better than, and Lewis doesn't lie, right? Lewis does not lie. It's better than Netflix.
I go on Netflix and I try to find things to watch all the time. And my whole time I watch. I'm like, all right, fine. F is for Family again. That's it. There's nothing else that I watch. I watch 3 things. I browse, and it all fucking stinks. Let me tell you, start at the beginning of Believe You Me and binge the 1,000 hours of, or not, 1,500 hours of just BYM that's available for you guys to listen to. I promise you right now, it's 1,500 hours. How many hours?
100 hours. 150 hours.
Yeah, 150 hours. That's what I meant. Just that alone is better than Netflix. Just the fucking podcast that we've done by ourselves for the past couple of years is better. So
yeah, I totally agree. But also, the last 15 episodes are available on YouTube. So please do subscribe to that. We're almost at 28,000 subscribers. We've got about 10 days to get another 22,000 viewers. So, step on it, guys. Tell your friends, tell your people, tell your mom, tell your dad to subscribe. But that said, and we do appreciate all of you, let's go to the first video caller that we're not going to make fun of, but I don't know what he looks like, and I don't know what he's wearing, and I don't know what the subject is, and I don't know the background, and I don't know where he's from.
So no promises.
You might get made fun out of.
Do you guys want the name or?
Yeah, give us the name.
Okay, it's Christus. Does not say where he's from.
Christus.
Oh, there's Shannon. No. Let's go. The listeners like to see Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. Do a little dance for us. Come on.
Shannon, what are you doing for Christmas? You got any plans?
Yeah, I just go to Staten Island, spend it with my family.
Strips.
And what about Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve? You got plans? Anything big?
I'll be working for both those days.
That's not good. All right, roll the tape. You got nothing interesting to say.
Sorry.
Forget it. Whoa! Right off the bat, Deerstalker hat. That's Lewis's Christmas tree in the background with the little gay things on.
My shitty Christmas tree.
Right, miniature Christmas tree, I might add.
Oh, whoa. How do you know
got his
this guy
hand.
isn't 8 feet tall, you piece of shit? This guy can be
Or
really
just
tall.
the perspective of the camera. But no, I don't think he's 8 feet tall. I feel like he's an average sized gentleman with a deerstalker hat and an oversized, very thick, very warm looking cardigan. I feel like this guy's definitely English, judging by the front room. And the Christmas tree, it's nice, but it's just small.
I have a feeling that he is actually he's kidnapped whoever owns that tree, and he's about to ask for a ransom. So we'll see what happens here.
What's he got in his hand? What is that?
Luis, Miguel, number one badass. Luis, yeah. Okay, question for you guys is, Smash.
Pause.
Stipe Miocic.
Pause. This is great. Luis J. Gomez, number one bellend. Oh, that is genius.
What is that? Is that a comedian in British? What is that?
No, bellend. I'm going to say this guy's Polish, living in England. No, something, I don't know, maybe Brazilian or something. A bellend is a cock, the end of a penis. It's an insult, Lewis. If you're a bellend, but it can be like a term of endearment. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, he's a bellend, isn't it? But it doesn't mean that too bad. If you get called a bellend, it's not nasty.
It's a ball busting
It's kind of a
thing.
joking.
It's like, you fucking dick.
Kind of. Hey, I'll put it like this, though. I'd be offended if it said Michael Bisping was the number one bellend.
Well,
so it's not that ball busted.
You're very
Maybe
thin-skinned.
it's a term of endearment, Lewis. In fact, I find the fact that he did that and went to all that effort to say that you're a bellend, I'd be flattered.
He likes me. People talk all this shit. First of all, I'm a tough pill to swallow. I make very terrible first impressions. People that are listening to this show for the first time, they're going, why the fuck is Michael Bisping doing a podcast with this guy? This guy sucks. I hope that his fucking family dies in a fire this Christmas season. Then they're going to listen to 2 or 3 more episodes and they're going to feel the same way. But by the 4th or 5th episode, they're going to be like, you know what? This guy ain't so bad. So I think this guy's about to go into this guy ain't so bad territory. And Now, you're right. We'll play the tape in just a second. You're right, Lewis. I agree with what you're saying. But 2 or 3 episodes before they change, that's a little ambitious. We're on 103. I feel like people are just now getting on board. No. You're only the problem is you're reading the comments from these new listeners. The old listeners have been on board for a long time now.
Yeah. Whatever.
And this guy,
Harrington,
let me say this about him really quick though. Here's why I like him more than you and Joe Rogan, because at least he put in the fucking J. At least he had the respect to put in the J in my name. He said, Luis J. Gomez, number one balance. So he can call me whatever he wants. And at least he uses the J like my friend. So continue the tape.
Stipe Miocic, where is he? What happened to him? Okay, guys.
I like him.
All right. Well, I changed my tune. I think he's Italian. Stipe Miocic, what happened? Where is he? Bada bing, bada boom. Stipe Miocic, yeah, where the fuck is Stipe? I see Stipe out there. Listen, I'm the biggest fan of Stipe that there is going. He's a great man. He's a class act. He's a hell of a fighter. He holds the record for the most consecutive title wins that there's ever been in the UFC. He's a formidable force. Unfortunately, the fact remains that he got knocked out in the first round against DC. It did. And he's still harkering for that rematch, which, I understand, but at some point you got to move on. Now, of course, he had a busy period, so he's just taking some time out, I guess. I'm assuming we'll see him in a high-profile fight shortly after the new year, but DC's made his point. His feeling's very clear. He wants one more big fight. He'll maybe fight Jones or Brock Lesnar, and then he's done. So Stipe is going to have to just fight somebody else in the meantime. Fight somebody else, get a win. Or that we said last week, we said Stipe versus someone for the vacant heavyweight belt in the summer, didn't we?
Did you wait? You got Harrington.
Kane.
Yeah, Kane is reportedly returning against February. If he beats Francis Ngannou, that would make sense. Yeah, vacant belt. It's DC's training partner. That's a fight that I would really want to see. Stipe versus Kane, because it's a big question mark. You know, Kane is and has always been a monster, but time is going to catch up eventually. There's got to be a point, and you said it before about Nick Diaz, where he has, you know, the fighter's heart, the fighter spirit, but time will catch up eventually. You know, the injuries will add up. You know, Kane is not young at all. How old is Kane? 36 years old? He's younger than I thought. Kane is a grizzled motherfucker. Have you seen pictures of Kane?
Yeah, no.
Lately?
He definitely has lived a hard life, but Cain Velasquez is still no joke, not to be messed with. And if Cain beats, who's he fighting again? Sorry,
Ngannou in February.
I do love that fight. That's an incredible fight. If he beats him, Stipe is going to fight Cain for the vacant heavyweight title. That's where he's been, my friend. Thank you for the question. Work on your tree, like the cardigan. Just a bigger tree next year. But I like, and I thank you for the question, even though you sound like a GSP, but you're not a GSP. But the impression is just the same. Arrington.
He's just doing a GSP impression and adding an A at the end of every sentence.
Arrington. Are you intoxicated? Are
you intoxicated?
All right. Harrington, question número 2, por favor.
This gentleman is named Tabor, Tab-OR.
Oh my God!
Hi guys, you're back again.
What's up? How you doing, Mike?
Keep seeing you. Hi. All right. Shannon's got a smile. That's nice. Harrington's looking scruffy as ever. All right, go.
Look at Tabor.
No sound.
Love your guys' podcast. Think it's absolutely hilarious. Michael Lewis, big fan. Love your guys' podcast. Think it's absolutely hilarious. Continue roasting us when we send in questions. I love that. I got thick skin. Roast me.
Yeah, we can see it. We can see your thick skin hanging underneath your chin.
Yeah. Well, you're asking to be made fun. I mean, you are literally asking to be made fun of, but you're also asking to be made fun of by wearing an Illuminous green woolly hat. You know, that straight away I was like, all right, Tabor, you're the man. I appreciate the comment. You know, I do, and the question and the video and the work and the effort that you went in and giving up your free time. But take off the hat next time. But
I like the fact that we got a fucking
Lewis.
I like the fact we got an American writing in finally. This is like Jesus Christ. You know, it's been all British, an Italian guy, whatever some of those other guys were. So this is nice. I like this. Go America. Get it, Tabor.
Yeah, no, Tabor, try and redeem yourself with an intelligent question. Go ahead, my friend.
Iaquinta, Kevin Lee. I thought it was a really good fight. It was close. I see why Kevin Lee thought he won. But my question is, what did you guys think when he was walking out to the octagon, when he was dancing the whole time? I was rooting for him until I saw that. That really turned me off for some reason. And I enjoy the shit talking and cockiness from most guys. Just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Well, thank you, Tabor. A couple of things to say immediately off the bat there is that if our producer extraordinaire, who goes by the name of Harrington, had watched these in advance and screened these video calls, he would have known that we were going to get into this. And he could have played this question earlier and we'd say, oh, it's funny you say that, Tabor, because I was going to break that down. But Tabor, thank you for the question. But the responsibility for this faux pas falls solely on Harrington's head or shoulders. But we did answer that question, so I don't really want to go into it again. But it's the top of the show. But Tabor, thank you, Lewis.
I don't want the responsibility to fall on his shoulders. His shoulders are too slouched and unconfident. So if the responsibility to fall on his shoulders, they would slide off and be on the floor. So we'll have
what about if the responsibility was to fall on the top of his stomach?
Well, that's a lot of space. So, Harrington.
Yeah, you could balance a pint glass there.
Just be better, Harrington. That's all we ask. We don't even like the fans love you. You see, we're actually tiptoeing now because the only time we do get shit is when we give Harrington too much shit, and they don't realize that we have to deal with on a daily fucking basis dealing with Mike Harrington as a producer of the show.
Well, I'll say that I don't have to deal with anything negative on a daily basis with Harrington. I find Harrington's input to be exceptional. I like the notes that he provides us. The talking points are welcome. They're very well constructed, and there's some things occasionally that hadn't occurred to me. I welcome all these things, Lewis. You know, but small doses. I don't have to see him as much as you do.
Exactly.
Thanks. Merry Christmas, Mike.
Isn't that the thing? No, of course. We appreciate you, Harrington. Well, I do. 50% of this equation is happy with you.
You get to see all of
mostly.
the good. It's almost like here's what it is. Harrington's like me and him are like married, right? And you're the side pussy that he gets to go be with, and you get all the beautiful, amazing parts of Harrington just on the side. None of the fighting, none of the bullshit. Like, oh, everything's great. You guys just bang once in a while. You show up. There's no stress of the relationship. The everyday ins and outs of life, dealing with bills and money and other people. You get a nice hot pussy. He'll be the one that gets fucked. Yes.
Can we just use a different analogy? Of me banging Harrington. Can we just structure that in a different way, that every time I see Harrington, we bang and have sex, and he just gets the good pussy part, and you have to deal with the day-to-day slobber and mess.
I'm not
comfortable with that.
Can you be? How about Harrington's the wife? Harrington's the wife, and you're banging that pussy.
All right, okay. I'll bang Harrington's pussy all day. Nice, it's better.
Hell yeah.
As long as we put a bag on his head.
Yeah, if Harrington, to be honest with you, if you were giving us some pussy, I would deal with your shit a little bit more. He does nothing for me sexually. Oh, okay. So. Any more video questions, or is that it? That's it?
But hold on. But see, this is interesting because we can, and this is, it drives me crazy. And we spoke about last week about Santa. I said, they're now claiming for it to be a Santa woman or a non-gender Santa. This morning, I read an article where it said now in the Brighton Council, as a part of England, they're now teaching that boys can suffer menstruation and periods as well as women, which we all know is factually incorrect. Boys do not have periods, but if they identify as a woman, then they are allowed to say that they're having periods and things like that. And they're being taught this in school, which is crazy. But the point it is absolutely insane. But the point I was going to bring up there is that because we're joking now about banging Harrington and having sex with Harrington, and that's okay. But if we were joking about banging Shannon, that'd be frowned upon, and we could be, it'd be a little sexual harassing and Me Too-ish.
Yeah, but it's a little less of a joke when we talk about Shannon. Like with Harrington, like
how would you feel, Shannon, if you were the butt of those comments, what we just said? How would that make you feel?
How would you feel if you're got butt?
I work on more than one show of Lewis, and I get exactly those jokes all the time.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You get Mike Bisping, you get a very mild version of me on this show. Shannon, go to the Shannon cam from the Real Ass podcast. It's a different camera.
I don't have it on here.
You don't have it on here?
No.
Oh.
What is she in like bra and knickers? With...
No. It's a camera. It just goes to her, and then boobs fall down from the sky like it's raining boobs. Oh. We made her sign a thing. We made her sign a contract that says on the show, if we say anything crazy, that she can't sue us for sexual harassment because it's just a joke.
Pretty sure that wouldn't stand up in a court of law. I'm just throwing it out there. She was coerced into signing that contract if she wanted the job, which she needed the job.
We made her
because she was going to be made homeless, so she had no choice but to sign that. But that shouldn't make her subject to ridicule and sexual harassment on a daily. I feel that contract would not stand up in the court of law, Shannon. Just so you know, FYI.
We also made her sign it. We put a pen in between her boobs, and she had to mash them together and hold the pen like that. There it is. There's the Shannon cam.
There it is, the boob cam. Nice.
It also works for Harrington when he's there by himself. It makes sense. It actually makes more sense for Harrington.
No, you should do one for Harrington where just cocks fall down.
Yeah, but then he's going to get all horny and stop focusing.
We got any more questions?
No, that's it. If you guys want to join the conversation, you guys can shoot us a video question or a regular question at bympod@gmail.com. We always take a couple questions at the end of the show. Sometimes we do them on social media as well. So follow BYMPod on Twitter. Follow Bisping on Twitter. Follow Louis J. Gomez on Twitter. I am Shannon Lee. And the chin underscore.
Chin turn.
The chin underscore. The chin turn is Instagram. He's going to make his life difficult.
Okay. Also, next Monday is Christmas Eve. We'll be bringing you a festive, fun show. Maybe having a few little drinky poos while doing the show. It always makes it a fun one. And then, of course, it's New Year's Eve. We'll be doing an end of the year show. But as Lewis said, subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, tell your friends, tell your family. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.